Stop playing dumb. You know exactly which documents we asked for, and you're holding them back because you know what they reveal. Confrontation ignited during a heated congressional hearing over Musk's refusal to hand over what Crockett described as critical documents tied to national security, disinformation networks, and potential interference with democratic institutions. What unfolded was far more than just a tense back and forth. It became a moment of reckoning for the billionaire CEO as Crockett, armed with facts and righteous fury, refused to let him dodge responsibility. The intensity of her cross-examination stunned onlookers, pierced through the tech veil Musk often shields himself with, and left all of America talking. Jasmine Crockett didn't come to play, and as the cameras rolled and the lights of accountability glared down, she sent a clear message that even the most powerful are not beyond the reach of scrutiny. Her unwavering determination and surgical precision in questioning made it impossible for Musk to escape the narrative. The hearing wasn't just about data, documents, or digital influence. It became a defining moment about transparency, power, and who ultimately gets to control the truth in modern America. She brought the fire that so many Americans have been demanding for years: the courage to confront wealth, celebrity, and arrogance in the name of preserving the integrity of public trust and national stability. The chamber was already charged with tension, but when Rep. Jasmine Crockett took the microphone, the atmosphere transformed entirely. She had a folder filled with pointed questions, references, and a fire in her voice that made it unmistakably clear she wasn't there to entertain evasions or half-truths. As Elon Musk sat at the witness table, calmly composed, perhaps expecting another mild exchange with elected officials, what he got instead was a masterclass in unapologetic confrontation. Crockett did not allow him to meander into technocratic jargon or sidestep accountability with a smirk. She pinned him down, citing specific incidents where requested documents had been delayed, withheld, or partially redacted, challenging the narrative that Musk's companies were being transparent in ongoing investigations. As her line of questioning continued, it was evident she had done her homework, not just on Musk's public statements but on internal memos leaked to congressional staffers, as well as whistleblower testimonies that suggested deeper layers of concealment. She recounted cases where Twitter, under Musk's leadership, had throttled the visibility of certain news topics without clear policy justification and demanded to know why Congress hadn't been granted access to the internal decision-making records around those actions. Musk tried to push back, citing corporate confidentiality and user data protection, but Crockett interrupted sharply. "Stop playing dumb, Mr. Musk. You know exactly which documents we asked for, and you're holding them back because you know what they reveal." The room fell into a chilling silence after that statement. Even seasoned committee members paused, recognizing that Crockett wasn't simply making noise. She was exposing what many had suspected but never articulated with such clarity and fearlessness. The phrase "stop playing dumb" trended on social media within minutes, with millions of Americans applauding her audacity to speak plainly to one of the world's most powerful figures. Crockett made it clear that this wasn't about politics, it was about protecting the democratic process and ensuring no billionaire, no matter how innovative or influential, gets to dictate what the public sees or doesn't see. Her boldness cracked open a wider conversation about the limits of wealth and the responsibilities that come with operating platforms of global influence. Musk's reaction was telling. His usual composure wavered slightly. He tried to pivot to technical defenses, suggesting some of the document delays were due to formatting issues, redaction processes, or legal reviews, but Crockett wasn't having it. She cited a series of internal emails that had already been reviewed by staff investigators, showing deliberate delays and what she called strategic stonewalling. She pointed out that some documents were altered from their original form before being submitted, and others came heavily redacted with no legal explanation provided. "If the truth is on your side, why do you keep hiding it?" she demanded, her voice rising with each syllable. Her tone wasn't just confrontational, it was authoritative, the voice of someone determined to dismantle the fortress of secrecy Musk had surrounded himself with. It wasn't just the verbal clash that stunned the nation, it was what Crockett represented in that moment. She was a lawmaker unwilling to be dazzled by celebrity or tech wealth, someone who embodied the frustration many Americans feel when power seems to operate beyond accountability. Musk may be a visionary in space travel and electric cars, but Crockett was reminding the country that even visionaries have to answer when their platforms impact lives, elections, and public trust. She drew a clear line between innovation and impunity, stating bluntly that technological breakthroughs do not excuse ethical breakdowns. Crockett made it clear that Congress must act not as passive observers, but as fierce defenders of truth and public interest. Crockett's case was built not only on secrecy but also on Musk's perceived contempt for oversight. She brought up his previous public statements mocking government regulation, noting how he once tweeted that he had no respect for the SEC, and challenged him to explain how that mindset was compatible with running platforms that serve billions of users. Musk stammered, tried to deflect by highlighting innovation and his global ambitions. But Crockett pulled him right back to the issue: transparency. This isn't about rockets or Teslas, she said. This is about whether or not you think you're above the law because of your money and your followers. Her words landed with the force of truth long overdue, and the public, weary of evasions from the ultra-rich, listened intently. That was the moment the hearing reached its emotional peak. Crockett referenced a letter from a former content moderator at X, who had reported being pressured to remove flagged content related to political campaigns. With no policy basis, the whistleblower's letter suggested a pattern of erratic and opaque decision-making within Musk's social media empire. Crockett demanded an explanation, but more than that, she demanded respect for the institutions Musk often belittles. She pointed out that Musk enjoys the fruits of taxpayer-funded innovation. SpaceX, for instance, benefits from government contracts, but refuses to play by the same accountability standards expected of public servants. You don't get to cash the checks from the government and then ghost us when we ask questions, she said sharply. Musk, at one point, tried to evoke the First Amendment, framing the issue as an attack on free speech. But Crockett wasn't attacking speech, she was attacking secrecy. She clarified that Congress wasn't interested in silencing voices but rather in understanding the machinery that determines which voices get amplified and which get buried. Algorithms are the new gatekeepers, she said, and if you control them without oversight, you control democracy itself. She demanded that Musk reveal who within his organization made the final decisions on content suppression, particularly during politically sensitive events, and questioned whether outside actors had influenced those calls. That sentiment resonated far beyond the hearing room. Across the country, news outlets replayed her speech, editorial boards issued praise, and Americans flooded social media with clips of the most intense moments. The confrontation became a rallying cry not just for transparency, but for rethinking the unchecked power wielded by tech giants. While Musk had faced criticism before, rarely had it come with such authority and clarity from a sitting member of Congress in a live session. Crockett managed to capture a generational demand for accountability and channeled it through pointed questions and unwavering resolve. She made people feel like they finally had a representative willing to challenge the status quo, to speak truth to unimaginable power without fear of backlash or political consequences. In the days that followed, calls intensified for Musk's companies to comply fully with the subpoenaed document requests. Legal analysts debated the ramifications of Crockett's performance, with some suggesting that the hearing might lead to new regulations on digital platforms, especially those with political influence. Others noted that this moment could redefine how Congress engages with tech CEOs moving forward: less deference, more directness, and much of that shift in tone would be credited to Jasmine Crockett's refusal to back down. Her stance laid a foundation for bipartisan discussions about regulation, and for the first time in years, there was a visible shift in how both parties viewed the unchecked influence of tech moguls. Elon Musk may have the satellites, the social platforms, and a legion of devoted followers, but Jasmine Crockett showed that one determined voice, rooted in truth and justice, can challenge even the mightiest. She proved that no one gets a pass when democracy is at stake. Her words echoed through the chambers of power and into the homes of millions of Americans who had long grown weary of evasions and elite privilege. In one unforgettable session, she reminded the nation what it looks like when public servants truly serve the public and refuse to be silenced. It was a performance of clarity, courage, and conviction that rattled the walls of power and forced even the most cynical observers to sit up and pay attention. As more hearings are expected, and as additional documents may eventually be released, the pressure on Musk continues to mount. But the greater impact may be in what Crockett's moment has set into motion: a wave of lawmakers who feel emboldened to question power, to demand transparency, and to confront the giants of industry not with fear, but with fire. Her example will be studied, remembered, and perhaps most importantly, replicated. What she did was bigger than just calling out a billionaire. It was reclaiming the role of government as a force capable of holding anyone accountable, no matter how rich or revered. The American public has been craving this kind of leadership: bold, informed, and willing to take the fight directly to the figures who have long operated in a vacuum of deference and silence. Jasmine Crockett gave them that, and in doing so, she didn't just win a moment, she sparked a movement. As future hearings unfold, and as the consequences of Musk's decisions continue to reverberate through digital and political ecosystems, one thing is certain: Crockett's voice will not fade. It will grow louder, echoed by millions, calling not just for justice but for a future where truth is not buried beneath wealth, but illuminated by the courage to confront it. If you were as stunned and inspired by this powerful moment as we were, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more bold truth-telling, political showdowns, and stories that hold power accountable. Don't miss what's coming next, because this is just the beginning.